So
Yeah,
that can
that's
happen.
true.
But okay, let's switch gears and talk about metaverse. First of all, kudos to you. You were talking about the metaverse before anybody was talking about the metaverse. It's like you got Zuckerberg in your back pocket. So boom, you're right there. Now, my favorite metaverse play is Enjin because I struggle appraising a lot of the games, etc. And I dabble in some other areas as well. We have some common names that we hold, but what is your favorite play in this space? If you had to pick one or your top three?
I don't is the answer for the same reason that you don't.
Yeah.
Is they're all imperfect. Is the world going to be built out? Let's start this again. Is the world going to be built out how on Sandbox or Decentraland? I don't think so.
No.
Can they adapt and change and become something different? Maybe. Is that token, the Sandbox has become my second largest holding because it went up 20x in a month. I'm like, really? This is ridiculous.
Mm.
And I strongly believe in the metaverse, but it's not a place. It's a kind of digital state of affairs. So I don't think there's a way to play it as is. I also am thinking through the ownership of digital real estate, not meaning having a metaverse experience, like we've built a Real Vision headquarters in the metaverse in crypto voxels. I'm more thinking about people are buying real estate because it's next to Snoop Dogg in Decentraland or Sandbox. Is that valuable or not? I think there is a near zero probability that we're going to be strolling down the street in the metaverse and, oh my God, Snoop Dogg's next door to Real Vision. Because when you see crypto voxels, you're just given a GPS coordinate essentially and takes you to one place. You teleport. Mm-hmm. So then what's the value of being in a neighborhood? So I worry that we're very early. I will not be holding my investments in this for a long period of time because I don't have faith that these are the right things. I've looked at Enjin as well, also interesting. I've looked at, Wilder, not so interested. I've looked at a bunch of these things, and the answer is I really don't know. But one thing we do know, it's most likely that Ethereum is going to be at the center of it for now.
Awesome.
So Ethereum becomes a decent proxy for the time being. It's not perfect, but that's okay.
So one of the questions I have, because I'm also a little bit of a real estate investor, do you think first of all, the metaverse land sales are beyond comprehension for an old school guy like me. But do you see the metaverse eating into the global real estate market? Do you see people saying, oh, I'm going to buy a 10-unit condo block in Miami versus a piece of land beside Snoop Dogg's house in the metaverse? Do you think that 230 trillion or whatever it is market cap of real estate could be eaten away by this new world? Looks like you never got that question before.
No, I have. The reason I'm pausing is because I'm actually thinking through all this stuff myself at the moment, and I don't have answers. But I think that digital real estate has value, much like you can buy a .com address for a fortune. I think that there is probably I'm going against what I said before. There is some value in being around other businesses that are similar, that you want to be around. But I don't know why. I think it's the affiliation that we're all in Sandbox. That's our platform, as opposed to I'm next door to Snoop Dogg. So I do think this space becomes extremely valuable, but I don't think it's one place. So I'm going around in circles now talking this. I don't know is the answer. I will. I mean, I own some real estate in the metaverse, and I just have to wait and see.
So let's switch gears again one more time. When I like to look at total addressable markets for certain places. So I guess you're probably digging into this as well. If I look at the total addressable market, for example, DeFi, it's 400 trillion, 450 trillion, no matter which way you skin it. And DeFi could eat 10% of that. That could be a 45 trillion total addressable market. The total addressable market for the metaverse should theoretically be nowhere as large as the traditional finance market, or do you believe it could?
I think it's larger.
Wow.
I think everything, you need to frame the metaverse differently to get your head around it. How I frame the metaverse is that everything is becoming digitized. The everything becoming digitized is the metaverse. The fact that you and I can do this on Zoom and we're in different countries was not really very easy to do only a few years ago. But this is actually a metaverse experience. We've digitized what used to be done in a studio by using we used to use digital cameras, but we couldn't shuttle the files around because they were huge. Yep. And now we can do it with streaming. So I don't think of the metaverse as this end state. I think it's every part of our lives, from finance to business models, are all being digitized. And the metaverse is that place where, in the end, I don't need my physical screens in front of me here. I just have one screen, and that I can reposition as my digital space with everything around it. You will be using your phone as your AR. You might use VR. I'm not sure VR is going to catch on as big yet, but AR is coming massively. I mean, Apple are already pinging your room 5 million times a minute to understand the dimensions of everything you move around in. And all of this is going to come into mapping systems where you can just walk around, you can find everything, you can see everything, the mix between digital and physical worlds. So yeah, I think the metaverse is the end state of, not the end place, the end state. So I think it's bigger than everything. I think it is where education will end up. It's where medicine will end up. It's where gaming obviously is. It's where platforms end up. I think all platforms go into metaverse experiences. I don't think we'll have these 2D kind of platform experiences any longer. So I think everything ends up there.
Okay, let me bounce some valuation numbers. You mentioned Decentraland now being your second biggest position. The value nearly hit 10 billion the other day. It's up 6,000% for the year. I think the active users, when I checked last, was about 1,730 active users. Okay. Now, if you take a $10 billion market cap divided by that 1,700, 1,900, whatever it is, depending on the day, that's about $5.25 million per user. If you value Facebook, it's worth about $158 a user. Taking that and extrapolating it out, and I understand obviously Decentraland's growing, etc., but that could place Meta, the Facebook value based on users, at $15 quadrillion. Do you struggle with any of these numbers, or do you believe Decentraland is absolutely crazily overvalued at $5.25 million per user, or do you think it's justifiable? Because I struggle with this. I really struggle.
Yes, I mean, as I said, I'm not in that because I believe that, and Sandbox because I believe in the valuation, or I believe that this is the future. I just wanted my toe in the water to feel it. As you said, I think it's a bubble. Does it go further? Probably. Is Facebook undervalued? Most certainly. So what is Facebook's valuation? Could Facebook 5x from here? Easily. If they execute anything close to what they think they can do. You know, could decentralized be worth $1 trillion? It's a long journey between here and $1 trillion, because they need, it's fine to have a very high value placed on the number of users, but you need to see the number of users growing rapidly, ridiculously rapid. We're not, because there's nothing to do in Decentraland, because it's a bloody web address. But you can bring people there for concerts. So once the music industry, which they're already doing, you're starting to coalesce people there, then that's different. Maybe you're going to change what we're thinking, that people don't have to be regular active users. They just need to go there for stuff. Now, what I'm seeing and thinking about is, okay, let's build Raoul's office. Maybe there's a platform which is your office, and your office exists in Decentraland because it's infinite, essentially. And we can build all of our own personal spaces there with our Twitter feeds, our video feeds, our this or that, personal, private. It's all secured, it's locked, it's yours. Could there be 1 billion users of an application like that? Sure. And that would be in the metaverse. Could that drive Decentraland's valuation? Possibly. It's really early to try and spot a trend, I think.
Yeah. Would you ever look at equities that underpin the metaverse? So, for example, NVIDIA, a very top semi name, they're now categorizing a new thing called the Omniverse, and they want to power it. Do you believe that's an interesting space, or stick within the crypto world?
No, I think I call it the exponential age. I think there's a bunch of technologies all going exponential all at the same time. And NVIDIA, there's a bunch of others that are doing similar kind of things. That's interesting. You know, Epic Games will go public at some point. You know, Epic Games has a decent chance of becoming $1 trillion company if they execute the next phase right. So that's a very interesting space. There's a lot within this that I think will be investable, whichever format. It doesn't have to be crypto. Crypto is just one of the elements of the metaverse.